good morning, afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Just to say, I'm Sonia Palmer and I was Sonia Quainton, and I was a nurse here at Leanchoil from 1996 to 2013. And I must say they were wonderful nursing years where we had lots of laughter and tears, but it was a beautiful place to work in. I would really like to take you on a tour of the hospital and show you the different areas and what they were, but I do hope that it'll give you an insight. It gives you an insight as to what Leanchoil was. And it wasn't just a building. Leanchoil was a family of nurses, a family of people working together.
One had to be careful that the front area in front of Leanchoil, which is a sunken area with trees and shrubs, was a haven for us. We called it the Dell, and it was quite biodiverse in terms of the bird species that nested there. I was often there nest checking. We had a tree that we used to climb up to see how high a branch you could jump off into the mossy ground underneath. So if we were being noisy, then we were removed, but generally we were quite sort of furtive and behaved ourselves.
This was my office before I went up to the other office, and still got the original sticker that I put on the door. Be an angel, practice random acts of kindness. Very much, and I had this, they asked me what colour I wanted this room when they were refurbishing here, and I said, could I have purple please, because it's a healing colour. And I had this office to myself, and then they employed a community liaison nurse, Karen Donnelly, so her and I shared this office, and that many a times there was laughter coming from this office, and perhaps not a lot of work that we should have been doing.
So where we worked was the old physio department. Used to be outpatient physio. There's lovely big windows looking out, and sometimes the classes all had to stop because a deer was walking past. And the radiography department, which was the old radiography department, which was facing out over the ambulance station. So sometimes the ambulance men are sunbathing or practicing their golf in the summer. And they'd take their tops off, and the old ladies would say, we just can't look, just can't look. I have a theory that once you get to 80, you're a really fun person to be with, because these folks used to come in and they used to make me laugh and laugh and laugh. And we always had so many biscuits in that place. Everybody used to, my relatives bought me this box of biscuits because I've been saying that we went down to physio for biscuits. And I think that ability to have people giving back to you was really precious. People would come and sort our computers out. Patients would come and sort the computers out. They all had skills, and that was really, I liked that.
So we're coming now into the X-ray department, but there was no shenanigans or anything going on here because they were very serious, because of course there was the problem if you weren't wearing your lead apron and abiding by the rules, you could get poisoning from radiation. So, but we did the basic X-rays were done here, chest X-rays, legs, hips. Majority, of course, was hips and knees with arthritis.
My father, he was the vet, and there were often dogs that had to be X-rayed, and he used the X-ray facilities in the hospital by courtesy of Sister Ross. So she knew who we were, so my father was told if we'd been naughty and been too near the hospital.
So this is one of the 2-bit wards we had, which were 7-bedded, and then because of infection control issues, they then reduced them again so that they were 3-bedded. And they always had a bathroom and a toilet over to the left-hand side. And many a time, I would be coming down the corridor and I'd hear the laughter. And it was the laughter of Mari Davidson, bless her soul, who's not with us anymore, in the bathroom, laughing about something, giving patients joy, and that helped their recovery, I think, the joy in the place. And you'd ask her what she was laughing about, and she could never tell you because she was laughing too much.
I started at Leanchoil Hospital on the 1st of October 1950. It was always my first choice to do nursing. Lovely start, but it was very tiring the first week. But it was a very busy hospital. I have seen us with 34 patients in the general and up to 24 in the maternity. There was lots of operations and lots of babies.
And this was a side room. It doesn't work. Oh, it does work. Well, this was a room that was supposed to have 2 beds in it, but eventually it only just had 1 bed in it. And there was a very famous patient that we had in here because she was a formidable character, because she was an ex-nurse, so she tried to rule the roost.
My daughter was born in Leanchoil Hospital, but that was a totally different experience. This was in 1972. I knew the nurses, things had moved on. One of the nurses was actually a friend of mine, and I knew the sister, and I spoke to you. I think I was in an hour and she was born because we came from the country, and my husband didn't believe me I was in labour. He didn't. And I says, I think we better get going. And we did, and she was born on a Sunday. One of the nurses was a sister, a friend of my husband's family, and she just hooked the baby onto her hip and marched through the hospital saying, I brought this baby's dad into the world. Sister Grant, she was lovely.
On my right hand side here is actually the door to the cellar, and which the staff were a wee bit frightened to go down because just in case somebody shut the door on them. Bottles and bed pans were stored down here when we had the disposable ones, and also Christmas decorations. Everything's stored down here, but very frightening if you were shut down here.
I remember we used to go to the pictures. And if we went to the pictures, we did pay at the beginning, but eventually a lot of us didn't do us and would get in for nothing, the pictures. And we'd come out the pictures and there'd be a lot of the boys that's in that photo that knew us all, you know, we're all friends, and they'd walk us back up to the hospital. And this night we were walking up and one of the chaps said, oh, look, there was a frog on the road. So he got it. And he says, you take that. So I took the frog, but to book into the hospital before 11 o'clock at night, and then up to the nurse's home. And you know what we done? Put the frog in her that was on night shift. We put it in her bed. And what fun we had with her. What a fright she got, you know, with this frog. And she'd gone up to her bed during the day, and the mischief we got up to, but it was good, clean fun.
Right, so this part of the hospital, as I said, was the old maternity and then adapted for outpatients department. But the story is, on a night shift, not many nurses would venture down. This end was closed up at night and was very dark, but not many nurses would venture down here because of the grey lady who used to appear now and again down this corridor, and you would see her just sweep. And we think it was perhaps they thought it was a spirit of a very old matron that used to work here many years ago.
I had about 4 to 6 months and I came back to Forres working and being employed at Leanchoil Hospital, and going from being a student nurse in Aberdeen And then suddenly I was catapulted to being a sister at Leanchoil. I loved working there. It was just a very happy few months. And my memory of Leanchoil always is a beautifully cared for hospital. I always remember the polished shiny floors, and as soon as you walked in the door, the smell of cleanliness, freshness, and the domestic staff were, you had to beware. They were very much in charge, and so we had to take care of everything.
So now we're moving down to the right side of the hospital as you come in the main entrance. And the first room here on the right-hand side, as you come in, this was what we were called the, nursing office. This was my office in the latter years. I had a little office down the other end when I was the ward manager. And then when I became hospital manager, we had our office here, which was a lovely office because if you could see out the window, it had a beautiful view out into the grounds. So, and on a sunny day, we'd have the windows open and it would just be beautiful.
But in the summertime, the sound was often of the groundsman's mowing the grass. He had a cylinder mower that he did all the grass with. There was no sit-on mowers, no strimmers in those days, so he had to work pretty hard. I think he stoked the boiler around the back of hospital in the winter and cut the grass in the summer. But it was certainly a long walk to get all the grass done.
That one's, it is working. This room here was used as, we had a dining room space, and again, promoting and enabling people with their rehabilitation. We had a microwave, so they would microwave their own porridge. So it's getting them to begin to be independent as well. And over to the right-hand side, we had some easy chairs, and then we had a TV, and that's where we had our Wii Fit, so that they could do their exercises. And the two chairs that are in the very middle, those two chairs were in the corridor, just outside the nursing office for many, many years. And if people were waiting to see the managers or see anybody, they would sit on those two chairs just outside the office. Okay.
As kids, you tend to explore corners and home in on something of interest. There was a canvas-covered wagon that looked like a Wild West wagon in the back of the hospital, of the nurse's home, and that I understood at the time was a horse-drawn ambulance, which was then redundant. It just sat there. But we used to go in and just enjoy sitting inside and pretend we were out in the Wild West.
Because the ethos in the hospital was very much about mind, body and spirit and all coming together. And we had a room up the corridor as well that we opened up on a Wednesday evening, and we had a healing clinic where people practiced Reiki or spiritual healing, whatever you want to call it. But again, a couple of the local GPs and myself and then other people were interested in trying to create that holistic approach to caring for people. So hence, we've got quite a lot of purple around the place.
A lot of people worked in Leanchoil obviously at all levels. Everybody knew what everybody else's strengths and weaknesses were, and all of us have both. That was, I think that's one of the essences of teamwork. A lot of the caring started in the kitchen, and that worked all the way from the kitchen to the presenting the food to the bedbound patients, and that reflected very favourably on the nurses as well. Courtesies and understanding what the need of the patients were. So the kitchen was very important. The cleaners were hugely important. And some of the strongest personalities were in the cleaning staff.
When we were asked to do this project, we knew that we wanted to gather stories from the older people who'd lived experiences of Leanchoil Hospital. We did this through a series of memory teas, bringing people together to share their stories, to reminisce, and for some it was a reunion. But it's one thing to celebrate the past of Leanchoil, but we also were looking forward at envisioning its future. And we knew we couldn't do that alone. So we wanted to include the voices of young people because they are the future. They are the ones who will help to shape whatever Leanchoil becomes, and they will inherit whatever that is. The young people we worked with didn't have memories of the hospital. So in working with the students at the academy, we used more creative and imaginative approaches so that they were doing the recording and interviewing of some of the older people. We worked through photographs. We worked with them on bringing some of the stories to life through drama. We took them on site visits so that they could work from the atmosphere of the building itself, taking pictures and writing about that. And we brought younger people together with older people to sit down together, have conversations and share stories.
I've just been talking to some OAPs about their experiences at Leanchoil. It was really interesting hearing some of their experiences at Leanchoil. I met two people who had all of their children at Leanchoil, and I was just wondering what they thought and how they felt every time they walked past it or drove past it, and how they felt to see it in such disrepair. They felt gutted, and it was really sad because it's just such a lovely building, and they were wondering why you would want to shut that down.
I am lonely now. I can still hear the echoes of the corridor where people would walk about. I remember the sounds of newborn babies crying, the smiles and tears of joy from the mothers, the proud eyes of the fathers. I remember all the moments, even the sad ones. I remember the tears of pain and the screams of anguish. I remember seeing all sorts of people who needed care. I can't see them anymore. There is no one here. I am left alone hearing the ghosts of those who used to be here roaming the halls.
My halls are empty, dark and lonely. I used to be a happy place of birth and love, sometimes of grief, but always a supporting place. But now I am left alone, no people, it's just me empty.
Leanchoil was a place of birth and a place to heal, an old building, a large building. It affected countless people over time. It has seen many people come and go with many emotions, from happy to sad, relief and grief. Now it is to become a place for the youth, for family and friends, like it once was before.